Florida and South Carolina meeting tonight in Gainesville. First place in the SEC East on the line. Hey, how are you, folks? Jason Horowitz. Glad to be with you here on CBSSports.com. Let's bring in our college basketball columnist and guru, for that matter, Gary Parrish, to break down Florida and South Carolina. And, Gary, these two teams met about 2 weeks ago in South Carolina. Gamecocks winning by a point because Alex Tyus missed a free throw, gave them that opportunity. Who is this South Carolina team that really you have in your top 25 and 1, but nobody else in the nation really is talking about?
Not bad. They're not a bad team. I mean, they come in, they're picked near the bottom of the SEC East, partly because they weren't very good last year, partly because they've got a first-year coach in Darren Horn who came over from Western Kentucky. But you look at them now, 16-4. They've got the win over Florida you referenced. They've got a 1-point win at Baylor. They beat Ole Miss, won this weekend at Kentucky. And then the losses aren't bad either. There's the Charleston loss and overtime back in November that I'm sure they'd rather have back. But the other one, lost to Clemson. That's nothing to be ashamed of. At Tennessee by 3 points. That's perfectly reasonable. At LSU, it was by a wide margin, but still, losing at LSU, nothing to be ashamed of. This is a pretty good team. They've got a nice guard in Devin Downey, a first-year coach who's clearly got these guys to buy in. And look, I don't know if they're really one of the best 25 teams in the country, but they probably got one of the best 25 resumes right now, and that's how they end up in the top 25 and 1.
Well, what does Devin Downey have to do in this game against Florida?
Well, he's just got to be a dominant scoring guard that he's been. A little history on him. He played his first year at Cincinnati, signed with Bob Huggins, played under Andy Kennedy, and then transferred back to South Carolina, his home state, when Kennedy wasn't retained there, and they went out and hired Mick Cronin. Played under Dave Odom. Now he's playing under Darren Horn. 19.8 points per game, 4.3 assists. He's an all-SEC guard, an all-American candidate, and the main reason why this team is having a turnaround year that's pretty unbelievable. Again, nobody thought that on this day in February they'd be tied with Florida and Kentucky atop the SEC East, and they've already got wins over both those schools. This is shaping up pretty nicely for them.
Yeah, it looks pretty good for this team right now. Meanwhile, for Florida, a very up-and-down week 1 week ago. The win at Georgia, Nick Calathes had a triple-double. The loss at Tennessee, Calathes had foul trouble. Gary, when you look at him in terms of his importance to Florida, is there any guy in the SEC that is as important to his team than Nick Calathes?
I don't think so. I mean, he's really, really good and just a really skilled basketball player. And you're right. He was great at Georgia, so they were great at Georgia. Then he picked up 2 fouls, and I think the first 3 minutes at Tennessee, they fell behind big and could never recover. Billy Donovan tried to get him back into the game in the first half just to settle things down, but once they fell behind without him on the court, they had no chance to catch up. He's crucial to the success of that team, and if he doesn't play well, they'll take a second loss to South Carolina.
Gary, I started this by talking about Alex Tyus missing that free throw. Revenge may be a little bit of a factor tonight. What do you think?
Well, there's that, and then the game's at the Swamp, and not the Swamp, the O'Connell Center rather. And so getting back home. This is the way these games usually go in conference. The home team. When you get two comparable teams, the home team's going to win. I would probably pick Florida to win tonight, based on a little bit of the revenge factor. Based on they might just be the better team, and then the third thing is they're at home and they're pretty good at home typically.
All right, well, we'll find out how good South Carolina is when they go on the road here tonight. Gary Parrish, thank you very much, sir. We'll talk about this and other games a little bit later. Take care, bud.
Thanks, bud.
All right, folks, for more on the game between Florida and South Carolina, any other in the SEC, Kentucky's got a game this week, and they're playing Mississippi State. That should be a good one. Check out everything here on CBSSports.com. For Gary Parrish, I'm Jason Horowitz. Take care, folks.